Why can't I build my own home? Why can't I grow my own food? And why can't I, just be more simple, you know? Because I think it all started with the clarity on success. Success to me is about having a home inside. No, it is not about acquiring anything. It is about now cultivating things like compassion, kindness, love, being empathetic, being sensitive, being mindful.
So I'm so happy to do my first podcast in the outdoors. And I mean, I don't know if you know this, but I remember telling you in Sanat's engagement that I want to do a podcast with you. So
Who is it?
that was February
Around
2021
yeah.
or 21.
Yeah,
No, 2020.
3 years back. Yes.
Yeah. And that time, like, we hadn't started a podcast, and I think neither of us, neither Sanat nor me or Ansh had made the move to the mountains. And you were the ones who I knew personally that had made a move to Goa.
Yeah.
So I was always curious to know your story.
Yeah.
So I'm finally getting the chance to do it, and in such a
Equally.
beautiful setting.
I'm honored to make it here, and it's actually my pleasure. So I could experience what you are doing, and I often used to think, I am living a slow life, but when I'm here, I'm realizing this. What I was doing as a slow, it was slow for me for moving from cities to there, but this is another level of slowness and another level of the won't call it peace, but then like the cream on top. Like you want to be in the countryside. You are in the countryside, and you have so much nature around you, and you have to build everything from start. Like even getting water, everything is you have to get it from the source.
Right.
So really happy to be here. Thank you so much, Aga, for the space.
Thank you, and I am also grateful. I think we've been having some enlightening conversations in the past days and exchanging some good books, ideas, and also going deeper and deeper with like the topics we both resonate on. So I'm glad that we're having this conversation. And I don't think I will do justice if I introduce you, because I don't want to put a label on you. So I would request you, like, how do you introduce yourself?
It's thank you so much again, Raghav. To introduce myself, I think I am somebody who hates labels. I am somebody who has always been curious, to new things, to break through, to figure out, to experience. So I am Sudhanshu. I am 29 years old. I grew up in Jaipur. I grew up in a very scarce city kind of an environment, but now I feel the scarcity was an opportunity to seek abundance. It's basically through unhappiness you find happiness, and me and my sister and all of them are part of it. So that's why I'm bringing them in. And I grew up in Jaipur. I grew up in a family where love was there, but it was through a channel of scarcity. So I experienced quite a bit of that, but then I got out of it. And I have always been, the curious kind, like I said, I was always into sports, and I was always into outdoors. I was always, I remember wearing short knickers and always being in the street. The moment I would come back from school, I would just head out in the street, play cricket. And when the cricket is done, I would do my bowling practice. When the bowling practice is done, I will do, chupan chupai. I will do something, I will keep myself busy in the streets. When chupan chupai would be done, I will do cycling. I will shout. You cannot make me sit. So I was the kind who was, people used to say, like, what's wrong with this kid? Like, why is he always running around, creating a ruckus in the society and whatever it was? But I think that was the child in me who just wanted to explore things. And as I'm 29 years old now, I feel I want to become more and more of that. I want to become more of that child, so I can explore, keep exploring. I think life is about explore it, get the gist of it, and then let it go. explore it again, let it go. So I don't have an introduction. I've never thought about it, but then I think just the curious kind is something which can maybe label me. Like just maybe sometimes I think I can call myself as a seeker also. I mean, I keep seeking my inner voice. So yeah.
Interesting. And you mentioned like I got out of the scarcity environment.
Yeah.
I know you might see it in different light now because you've also processed a lot and you have seen life in different shades, and now you might see your story in different light. But I've always been curious to know about your story, that when and how and why did you like leave Jaipur, and what was that journey initially like?
Yeah. The journey was quite a roller coaster ride emotionally, It it kind of still gives me goosebumps to even, think of going back. But as I think I've now started to learn to go back and really have a talk with my inner child. Being such a good football player, I played football professionally, and I remember, I used to buy 300 rupees shoes, and those 300 rupees shoes, to collect those 300 rupees shoes, I would have to like find so many opportunities to somehow collect that much, and then just go and play. And then when I used to go and play, and then I would see other people have Nike, Adidas, and then I am in Star Impact, and that would hurt, that would. But then there used to also be a voice which used to say, there will be a time when you can afford these things, Like I remember my coach telling me, you're hopeless, go get Nike boots and then you can play. And I remember telling myself while crying in the washroom, saying that one day you will buy them, And I remember I first got my salary in 2014, and the first thing I did was I went to Nike store, and I bought myself a Nike orange mercurial shoes. I still have them, I think. So the childhood, the growing there and everything was from the scarcity point of view, and as a child, I hope nobody passes through that. But then because of that, I think I am here, I am here able to be bold and be kind also, to them, to other people. When I see scarcity in other people, when I see that they're suffering, when I see, they're going after petty things, which really doesn't matter. I feel empathetic towards them. I feel it's not their fault. I remember, after there was a time when my mom, became really angry with what I was doing, with what my sister was doing, because we were into creative pursuits, and my family was never into it, and my family always scared what the neighbor will say, what the relative would say. And I remember one day, there was a panic thing, and then she just threw my laptop, and that was the time when I was really hooked to photography, and I was trying to build a career on it. And then the moment I saw, this thing, I knew like this thing cannot continue, and I said, and she said, get out, take your laptop and get out. And I was like, just take this as an opportunity to just get out. And then my sister, who was facing the same stuff, because in our society, girls are they have a lot of pressure to not go out, and I used to support her a lot to just do whatever she wants to, so she also found the opportunity, and we both left home. We started looking for options to move out. We started asking friends. She posted online. She asked for donations. It was, in some light, was a really good, bold move, which we did, which we tried projecting also. But also, it was somewhere we had a deeper sense of it that it was not the best move. In some negative elements, I think that move really gave us the breakthrough from there, and we realized, we are strong enough to get out of that vicious cycle of, wear this, do this only, have a career like this only, you will only be given this much money. If you have only like this much money, you can't do big things, or like things like spread your legs only between inside the size of your bed sheet, utni पाँव पसारो जितनी तुम्हारी चादर है. All these things are limiting mindsets, and I think my sister especially and I, we knew in our heart like we are not made to fit in a box. Even our relatives say these बच्चे, ये आपके बच्चे अलग हैं, ये पागल हैं, ये अपनी मन की करते हैं. So in a way they used to tell their kids to not mingle with us. Our cousins never mingled with us. The reason is they always saw us, some different people, like people from aliens, trying to do something differently. But now these people are only those people who come and ask, where are we, where are we, what are we doing? And it feels good also, and it feels that finally they were able to, I think when you have the light on you, then only people, see that, oh, like you have reached, and now people are starting to respect. But I think it should not be like that, especially during those hard days and journeys. These close people should stay with you. And when we went out of home, strangers, came up to help us. Strangers gave us donation. I remember getting a donation of 10,000-12,000 rupees, which was equal to paying 1 month rent of that studio apartment we found. So we paid it, and then somebody brought us dinner one day, somebody brought us breakfast, and we knew we can sustain outside, but then there was also this voice in me who said, you cannot leave a war without being in a war, and you cannot ever run away from your family. They are your, now I know what is it called, it's called your pillars of happiness and support in your life. So I remember, telling myself that like no matter what, like you cannot run away from that. But my sister knew she cannot go back because she would be restricted to do things. So she stayed out. She started her own thing called Home for Artists. She started to support other people who wanted to escape, and it was a big success. She really helped a lot of people. Meanwhile, I got back. I started to work on my relationship with my parents, try to change them, try to explore where they are coming from, and especially when you understand where that person is coming from, you relate with them. So my relationship started to change. I got my work opportunity. I went for my work again. I started traveling. So a lot of changes came, I think, and I won't say I'm completely out of that scarcity environment, because it comes and goes. But at least now I figured out a way to not get attached to it, So even if I meet people who are in that environment, I know it's just a phase, I can always create abundance wherever I want to, it's the choice. It's the choice, yes.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. And you mentioned in your last answer that relatives look up to you like when you reach at some point, so maybe you're talking about success. So after going through all of this and having this roller coaster of a journey, what does success mean to you now?
Yeah, it's a very interesting thing to talk about, because for a very long period of time, I believed success was about acquiring materialistic things like land, money, car. I don't own a car. And a lot of these things which makes you feel, you can live a good lifestyle, but then if you would have asked me this question 4 months back, I would have said this only. I don't think I'm successful. I don't think I'm, and the only reason would have been because I don't buy these things, which brings me to a stage where I have to take EMIs and stuff. And that's the kind of lifestyle I wanted to lead. I wanted to be loan free. So, but now now, I think success to me is about having a home inside, which nobody can reach to, and nobody can shake it, nobody can question it. And it is to cultivate some deeper qualities in my soul. You know, it is not about acquiring anything, it is about now cultivating things like compassion, kindness, love, you know, being empathetic, being sensitive, being mindful. And it's an ongoing journey to cultivate these things. And for me, I think success is about you embark on that journey. You never reach its end because there is no end to it, you know. And it's not that you always will be talking from love or have that compassion in all your days, but I am trying, you know, to cultivate having these qualities in my soul. And I think that is what success is not what they tell us, you know, buy this and that you will feel secure. It's momentary when you buy those things and you feel satisfied, but then you see the another premium signature version of something and then you feel, oh shit, what you have is an old success, now you want bigger success, and then it never ends. But if you can cultivate those things, you know, you can, I think the real success will come to you in a form of inner security. And I think that's what I can say about success. And I've started to realize how much is there to, you know, go in and learn about myself, you know. And until I do that, I have no need of looking for these things outside.
Right.
Yeah.
That was quite profound. So you talked about wanting to work with your hands and come here and experience how this mud house has been built. So since I know you, I think it's almost 4 or 5 years now, I think, if I'm not wrong. And I've always known you for being so outdoorsy, but I never thought you were into like permaculture or like natural building. So I want to know what made you explore these paths now in this phase of life.
Yeah, again, you know, I think for somebody on the outside, it looks like a drastic shift in me. You know, somebody who is not closely, even I think anybody who is there in my life would certainly think, why is this guy talking about working with hands, learning to work with soil, mud houses, or permaculture, or woodwork, or volunteering. But then I think I have been keeping these things on hold for a very long period of my life, and I've been a very curious kid. So I've been working as a wedding photographer since 2013. I remember, you know, because there was an urgent need which was created from the external things. I had to work.
Yeah.
I had to set myself up. I had to find ways to make money, to get stable. That's what they call, you know, the term for society people, to get settled. And I started chasing these things, I remember. And it was not just the chase. I think it was also, I grew my skill to picture people and to document people, and that became like my new exploration. And I think I loved my time in that. But on the parallel side, I remember telling myself that I want to be more somebody who works with basic things in life also. You know, I think it is passed down to me from my father. He loves gardening, he loves basic things, you know, he loves small things. Like if you ask him right now, if you give him money, what would he like to do? He would want to buy a land to grow things, you know. So maybe it was through him, I saw him as a simple man, and somewhere I always knew that even if I have money and whatever, I would always try to be as simple as possible. And simplicity is in the nature, I think, and major part of my upbringing has been around nature and me drawn towards doing these little outdoorsy stuff and meeting villagers and being curious. I remember going to Ladakh so many times, and sometimes I would see, you know, this Ladakhi aunties lifting the barley on them, and I would go help them. I would go pick the remains of the barley, you know, make a stack of it. So I was always curious about it. I was always trying my best to put myself into it. But I think I couldn't do it because I was in that whole cycle of make money, save money, and invest money. And I think because of that, I just kept all of that on hold. And now that I'm doing a lot of work, I'm starting to again, pay more attention to what I want to do. Again, I've started to, I'm now, I think, opening a new again chapter in my life where I am thinking to go more, to do things more with hands. And recently I came across this person from India, very old guy who now lives in UK, Mr. Satish Kumar, and he has a video on YouTube and on a TEDx. He gave a TEDx speech, and it's about simplicity, embracing simplicity. And in his video, he says, what are these strange times where people who is sitting behind a desk using their intellect are paying more than maybe 50 times of somebody who is working who is working all day, all night through hands, like maybe farming or maybe weaving or woodwork or, what we call in India labor class, they should get more value out of it. They should be taught, they should be valued on a very, I think, much higher than these people. But unfortunate times, we are losing that whole thing. So somewhere I think I got connected to that idea, and I felt, why don't I have those skills? Why can't I build my own home? Why can't I grow my own food? And why can't I, just be more simple? Because I think it all started with the clarity on success, and since I knew now what success means, I knew these skills, they are not related to success. These are basic skills, these are some core values you can have in your life, and you can live out of those things on your own also. You don't need to then have a lot of money, and making a very mindful, conscious choice about livelihood is so important also. If you want to have kids, how you want to raise them and what do you want to pass on to them is also important. So for me, if I ever have a kid, I want to pass on these things rather than give him an iPad or give him money. I would say I would make him grow a farm, or I would make him learn these things over something else. So that is why I think I'm more drawn towards it, because I feel more grounded, and when you feel grounded, you feel that when you feel grounded, I think you naturally are closer to nature.
Right.
If you ask somebody who is already enjoying nature, and if you ask how do you feel right now, that person will say I feel very grounded right now, because nature brings us back.
I think when you work with nature, you're getting closer to your own nature somehow.
Absolutely.
You feel that you are transforming something, but actually it is also working on you.
Yes.
So you are the output. Those were some of the questions that we also started Tiny Farm Lab, thinking how we can reclaim stuff and build with our own hands, maybe also stitch our own clothes, grow our own food. So roti kapda makan, basically how we can reclaim this.
Yeah.
So you mentioned about simplicity. On one end there is simplicity, and you also talked a lot about money and money influencing a lot of your decisions, career wise, growth wise.
Yeah.
And this is a theme that I love exploring with people, because I want to know, does simplicity mean giving up on money completely, or you've gone through like many phases with money, and you've also suggested me good books on like money, because I am also trying to figure out my relationship with money. So how has your relationship with money changed over time, and how do you see money now?
Yeah, since it's such a great question, and it's such a great curious thing also, because on one hand you talk about simplicity, minimalism, and then on the other hand, money is such a big factor which they have projected in our lives that it keeps us away from the real light of simplicity. It makes us feel that either this or this, but it's actually not like that. It's about we are taught to put things in a box and label it. You are this or you are this, or do this or do this. So eventually what you have to do is remove those chits and open those boxes and be playful with these things. So what I have realized now is, first I think is that your past patterns of money has to go. What you learn from your parents about money. In my home, money was always a reason for stress. So I kept saying to myself, money is not important to me. I don't need money. I don't think money is ever gonna bring me. I don't want to settle because I don't want to earn money. I don't need money. I'll never take loans. I'll never, play big with money. And these are the things which make you manifest, I would say, that money never comes to you. And one of the book which you are reading also, it clearly says that if you start telling that this person or somebody in your life is not important to you, they will never be in your life. Even do you we will keep pushing them away. So you have to change this narrative, and you have to, if you don't want a lot of money, it's fine, but you don't need to say you don't want money. You can say, like I tell myself now, that money is very important to me because it gives me freedom. And that has changed my relationship with money. It has brought me some sense of security also. It has brought me money also. I see like the money keeps flowing, it keeps getting printed, it keeps getting flowing, and you cannot stop it. The only way you can stop it is hold it towards you and not ever invest it or not ever save it or give it to the others, but if you give it away, you will see how fast it comes back to you. And that is the core nature of money. And if you play against it, you will never have enough money. And the other thing I want to touch upon is the part where you say you want simplicity and you have the money, right? So I recently read and saw this beautiful presentation from Thich Nhat, who was one of the profound leader in Vietnam, and who was a monk. And then he says, with right perspective, you have right views, and with right views, you have right actions, and with right actions, you have right karma, and with that, you build a right livelihood. And he explains that right livelihood means you do something which brings you happiness, but it doesn't mean you earn a lot with it. You earn enough to live a happy life. And that is where I think that grey part is in the context of having a simple and a life where money is also there. If you make money the only thing in your life and start doing things which you don't like doing, you will not sustain it. But if you do things which makes you happy but gives you enough money to sustain it, then eventually you will sustain, you will love every bit of your life. And I now see life from a very opposite direction. I see death first. I see that I'm dying, and I'm dying beautifully, because when I got to do this back calculation, I realized my wick of life, 29 is already 29 years I've already used. So whatever is coming, it has to be really full of mindfulness and compassionate towards everything.
Right.
So the money and simplicity, I think the more we label and put them in boxes, more we are restricting ourselves. And that's what I think. Like, majority of the people, they label it, or they end up doing things which are against their inner voice. And you have to honor your inner voice, and you have to be really, really in the moment, I think, with it. You have to give yourself time, like if it brings suffering to you, then ask yourself why and what is the reason. If you see you're in chase of, like, I remember, I was in Delhi for a long time, and I was good making good money, but then I remember, asking myself these questions, then why are you here, why are you traveling every day 1.5 hours in a metro, being pushed by strangers in it and again pushed out by strangers just to make money. And I knew the answer was so clear, like it was so clear.
Must be Rajiv Chowk.
It was Lakshmi Nagar station, which is worse, to Noida. And I remember, like this voice telling me that you are not supposed to be here, and I left the job, and I did this bicycle trip and all those things, and I kept growing. I became more inwards. I found myself, I think, and the reason I'm here is also because of it.
Yeah.
Because I took those steps.
Wonderful.
I listened to the voice. So listen to the voice inside of you.
Quite enlightening. Thank you. And I'd also love to know, since you mentioned like you listened to your voice and now where you are, if you had to credit maybe 3 skills, that has made you grow as a person or as an athlete,
Okay.
what do you think are those 3 meta skills that you think has made you sustain all of this and made Sudhanshu what he is today?
I think the biggest skill is again to be crazy and mad with you. It's not people might not call it a skill, but it's actually a skill to talk with your mind and do things otherwise and build this madness inside you. I remember I used to say, you need to have a fire inside your belly to survive it. To live a life which is meaningful to you.
Right.
So have a skill which keeps that fire. Remember in villages, like, we have wood. Not everybody can start a fire from it. So it's a skill. I think it's a skill to keep that fire going, and it is the most important skill that leads to other curious things in your life, and which gives you the purpose which everybody is seeking for, indirectly. The other skill is to read, learn how to read. I was never into reading, but when I found the book which hooked me to reading, I found out that how much I missed on.
Which was that? Like which one?
It was the first, the book actually which got me hooked. It was the little forest pool of meditation, Achaan Chah. It's about a Buddhist monk and his monastery and his practices over there, walking meditation and so many other things. And I was just hooked. I remember not even feeling like sleeping, and I wanted to I would wake up and this book is on my side. I would read it, close it, again I would read it. So find a book which can help you read and read and read. I ended up buying a Kindle, so you can see what I'm turning into, and read not to turn pages, but to know the people behind them. I think that is something very important. And I think another thing is have a skill to share and communicate what you are feeling, which I think is terribly lacking in people, and somewhere it lacked in me also. But then I cultivated that skill, that to live a happy life.
To live a happy life. Fireworks.
That's what the nature wants us to say louder. So to live a happy life, you need to share. We are social animals. We need to share. We cannot be independent. We have to coexist with everybody. Either you share it with animals, you share it with trees, your family, anybody, even with your enemies. Just share, just share how you feel, and never ever let anybody doubt you. these are skills which are not to make money or get you success, which they have told you, but these are skills which will attract automatically those things if you have these three skills. And the definition of worth, skills, consistency and success, change that. Make your own definition. They cannot tell you the definition. If whatever they are telling you, it's their projection.
Right.
So these four things, if you change and if you make them your core definitions, your own definitions, nobody can shake you. Nobody can change it. You know, I am also a coach now. I train two athletes. I myself have trained like an athlete, like crazy. So I know, like, people think consistency is ticking all 7 days and never slack a day, but that's wrong ideology. You know, people think worth is something, a really big thing. Like, you have to buy, you have to, like, to be a worthy thing, you have to, like, sacrifice something, or you have to become really big. But worth is such a simple word, like, you know, how you look for yourself, or, you know, how do you see something, how much worth is, how much you think you're getting back from it, maybe, you know, or it's a personal thing. But then people, when they talk about worth, they make you feel like, for me even, like, when I was asked define self-worth, I literally googled it, you know. So I never knew, like, self-worth, I never knew my self-worth. And the bigger reason for that would be because it feels like such a heavy word, I could never dare to ask myself. So break it down, I think, and ask these questions to yourself. What is your self-worth, and where is it? Why? And you will find out that how much of it is actually derived by others, not you. So redefine it for you. You know, tell yourself your worth. So third person or second person, even your spouse or your family can never change it for you. And success, like I said, you know, cultivate those things, and those things are your core value structures: happiness and compassion and kindness. Everything, you know, I listen to Gurbani now, and, you know, I will repeat the line. He says, Maharaji says that where the specks of love, and everywhere you see is divine. In other words, look from your heart, not your mind. So beautiful, you know, so simple, that in so many ways we can apply it every day, and our relationships will change. I think our relationship between our families, our enemies, everybody will change.
Beautiful and quite heartwarming as well. And where do simple things such as having good routines fit in this puzzle?
Routines are, I think, I was very scared of routine, you know, like, I remember, like, I remember telling myself that I will never have a life which has same things, and I want a life which has every day new places. I don't want monotonous things like jobs and settling and stuff. But then I learned from a very close friend, Sanat, and I remember he talking about routines, how routines changed his life. And routines as a word, again, you know, people have defined it wrong. You know, routine gives
like a
you
9 to 5 job.
Yes. When you think of routine, you see, oh, it's same repetitive, boring things, or maybe 9 to 5 jobs you have to do. No, like, routine can be established by you. A routine is just a way to channel your thoughts every morning and have some non-negotiables in the morning. Maybe a cup of coffee for you, or run for you, or some time off from screens, or maybe have your productive work hours sorted, have a structure, maybe a routine to connect with your friends, because people think that friendships happen naturally, you know, but then friendships are actually a work of commitment, you know. And if you think they happen naturally, then you are entirely wrong. Like, you have to find time to message them, you have to ask them, you have to check upon them, fix meetings with them also. So I think learn to do that, and routines are the way for you to set them up. It's like having a sub goal or like a mini vision of your day, you know. And that's where I think routine is number one priority for me. Like my routines are do something, like do every morning. Now it's like the moment you wake up, either listen to Gurbani or listen to some podcast or maybe read a book. And once you have your all senses back, you wake up, have a coffee, and then go run or cycle or walk or do something with your body. And then come back again, take a cold shower. I don't take hot showers. Wake every cell of the body up and then start the work. Like, you know, so, or maybe for you, routine can just be to wake up every morning at 4:30 or 5:30, you know, before the sun is out. When other people are sleeping, you wake up, because it's proven that when early morning hours are the most productive hours, and because there is less noise, you know, there is less noise. So wake up early morning, set your routines, and once you set your routine, you will see how much time you have. You know, I remember I used to say, I don't have time, I'm very busy. But then now once I have the routine, I think I have so much time, like whole day I have to myself. And if I don't have time and everything is scattered everywhere, then you won't be able to find that safety pin which is poking you everywhere, you know, on the table. So to have the clarity, they say decluttering is the way to create space, not getting more space. If you can't declutter, you will never feel you have more space. So start with decluttering, not with buying more boxes or more space. So routines are that way. I think for me, it's that programming, just to have structures. And I don't want to get too much into it, but I just tell my mind, shut off. I have to do this. It's a non-negotiable, and I do it. Just do it.
I'm grateful that you are here, and I am also improving my routines a bit, like waking up a little bit more like early than I used to.
Lovely.
And I don't know what kind of energy is there, like even if we sleep at 10 and Dadi wakes us up at 2 thinking that it's 4, but I still don't feel that I haven't, like, you know, like I sleep deprived or something. I wake up quite fresh.
Because I am the one who replies.
So I think we can just go on, and we've been doing it for the last 4-5 days as well. And
Yes.
but it's getting darker and colder, so I would like to, you know, maybe put a hold on this conversation and we can carry it on. But before we do that, I would love to know your desires, if I may call that, or plans for near future.
I think I don't have desires anymore. But I do have a wish, or maybe I do have a feeling that what can I do to help others? I don't know. Like I described myself as a flower who's blossoming. What can I do to spread my fragrance? You know, and what can I do to be more lively with my family and be more loving and compassionate, and just be okay with that, you know, just be okay with sometimes not doing things. So it's not desires, because I don't have desires of materialistic things anymore. They do come in and go, but now I know that it's like telling yourself the storm never stays in one spot.
Right.
So it just comes and goes, and it's impermanent. So I have started to not have desires and dreams, and I think that's about it. I think I want to just be as simple as possible, have a right perception, right views, and right actions, and then right karma, and then right livelihood, you know, and embrace all sufferings, all happiness, everything what comes to me. I don't want to sound more like a guru or some monk, but this is what genuinely, as I speak also, I think I am writing these files in my head, and these are written in my head already, and that's why I'm speaking here, and I want to put more action in that, and I think that's what I wish for, you know, I can do, and be around people like you, and just do, you know, whatever I can do to learn and just be happy in the moment, you know, be happy in the moment. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing, and I think I've learned so much in the past few days and also received a lot of love that you have brought into this space. I just wish Ansh was also here. So, like, on
Yes.
behalf of us both, I'd like to end this podcast with the hug, and I think it was a great conversation.
Thank you, man. I love you both the brothers. You are very, very
Really
special.
nice having you here.
100%, man.
And thank you for having this
We have a deeper connection than the skin to skin, or I don't know, like we cannot put it into words. Even with other people we have met through, so it goes beyond this feeling of being in a place, you know. And we are, like, you know, I said I'm so happy. Yesterday I told you my gratitude list, and the first thing came to me was I was here, and I had you to share my learnings with, and that is all I need, man. And I'm so happy again. Thank you.